Alright, the day is finally here, the day I walk to the beach, which from my house is a distance of just shy of 10 miles over different sorts of terrain, public roads, dirt roads, and back paths. This should be interesting. Alright, so my directions say it should only take about 2.5 hours to walk there at a decent pace. However, I do actually have to take into account, being safe on large public roads, traffic, and of course the added weight I'm carrying around with my backpack here full of food and water for the trip. So I'm thinking more around 3.5 hours. My typical walking pace is pretty much exactly 3 miles an hour, but I think because I'm pushing myself a little bit harder this time, that I might actually end up with a better rate than that. The really interesting part about this whole walk is that I'm getting to see roads that I've never seen on foot before. Like, I've seen this road plenty of times, I've been on here plenty of times in a car, but never on foot, because there's nothing really to walk to on this road from my house. Well, apart from the beach. It's actually really cool to get to see it, at 3 miles an hour instead of 15 or 30. Here you can see a lot of the fields that Watsonville is actually quite famous for. Mostly strawberries, but they do grow other things here as well. And of course, it wouldn't be the farming part of Watsonville without all the trains. Alright, update time. I'm just past 3 miles into the walk now, meaning I have just over 6.3 miles to go. So that way leads into town towards the main center of Watsonville, and there was a route that went that way that also led to the beach. It was about 40 minutes longer, so instead I'm going to be going this way, the back roads. Now here's where things get a bit tricky and more than somewhat risky. I have to find a good gap in the car just to navigate my way across this road. Like Frogger, but with no consequences. Caught a break when there was no cars going either way for about 30 seconds. That was actually a lot easier than I expected it to be. Now for the tedious part. 2.5 miles on this road. I just realized, based on what is in this video, it might technically qualify as a Wildman Oliver video. I've not made one of those in over 2 years. This right here is a highway. As soon as I walk underneath it, I will have completed about 2/3 of this 9+ mile trip. Alright, so I'm on another road now. This one I have to follow for 0.7 miles till I get to the main road that leads to the beach. 20 years of living here and driving past this spot so often, yet I never even knew that this river existed. It's just the really cool things you notice when you're walking a route instead of driving it. Alright, this is it. The final road. Farms, cars, horses, and all the way down there, the beach. There's the sign. Not far now. I'd say about maybe another 5 minutes. It may have taken the better part of 3 hours. It may have been a walk that clocked in at just short of 10 miles. But eventually, I have made it to the beach. So yeah, I made it to the beach. And that means that there's only one thing left to do. Woo! You may be wondering what pushed me to do this whole beach walk thing in the first place. Apart from the fact that it's summer and I'm bored and I like walking. Well, 5 years ago, when fellow Wasteland podcast co-host Ben Rose and I worked on a little thing called the Watson Blog, he made a comment that, this beach isn't close to my house because I can't walk to it. A beach that is close to your house and when you can walk to it. Well, I guess we should now call this beach close to my house because yes, I have walked from my house to here.